Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Tonight, we'd like to focus on the economy. We have said on this platform that Zimbabwe is a failed state. But how much is that of our own making, we the people? How much is it because we have failed to hold our leaders to account? Here is a video clip of Eddie Cross talking about one issue that should concern us all, NASA, and the amount of pension that people have been paying and yet getting nothing out of it.
In Africa, there are 7 taxes. In Zimbabwe, there are 51. There are 12 deductions from salaries. NASA. Why the hell do we pay NASA? 9% of our salary bill. 9% goes to NASA. And what for? The total value of NASA today is $1.5 billion. They've received $27 billion from us as employers in the last 25 years. Where the hell has all that money gone? Why is nobody taking any account of this? And what doesn't I've paid into NASA for 27 years. I don't get a pension from NASA because I don't bother to collect it. It's worthless. Taxation. We're the most heavily taxed people on earth. That's true.
Sorry about that. That is tragic, Ben. That really is tragic. What do you say to that?
Good day to you and good day to everybody. Thank you for joining us. You know, I must say Zimbabwe is a crime scene. Just like what Advocate Tendai Biti said, Zimbabwe is a crime scene. The most heavily taxed, and yet we get the poorest service this side of heaven. This just shows the amount of corruption that has embraced our country, the corruption that we live in. 25 billion is what people have contributed, and yet NASA has less than 1 billion in assets. 24 billion missing. You know, we used to complain about diamonds to say we lost, 40 million worth of diamonds. Now we have just lost 24 billion.
Yes, it is tragic. In fact, according to Eddie Cross there, we've paid 27 billion in the last 25 years. And NASA has got only 1 billion worth of assets. I think it really goes back to what we've often said on this platform. Outrageous things happen, and nobody does anything about it. It is unbelievable that people have been paying all these contributions, and particularly those who have paid the contributions, retired, thinking that they'll get at least something from their contribution. Like Eddie is saying there, the pension that you get is not even worth collecting. I think that is at the heart of our problem. We do nothing. And the question has got to be asked, why Why are we such helpless victims?
Look at it this way. We have representatives that are supposed to be asking these hard questions. I'm talking about members of parliament, you know, that are supposed to find out, that are representing us. They are us within parliament. But the problem now is the corruption level has infiltrated even the opposition members of parliament. They too are spending these monies. So you cannot then go and ask to say, where is the money, when you know you are partaking of it? I mean, recently they were complaining that one vehicle is not enough. A vehicle that costs 70 million is not enough. What they want now is two vehicles costing 70 times two. So, really, do you expect them to ask these hard questions anymore? I don't think so.
That's very true. We have got the opposition now working in cahoots with the government. People get the government they deserve. And we cannot deny that the people of Zimbabwe deserve this corrupt, incompetent, and utterly useless ZANU-PF regime, complete with this MDC triple C sidekick. But at the end of the day, one has still got to go back to the people and say, why are you allowing this to happen? Why have you allowed so much corruption and waste to happen, particularly when it affects you? You are the one who is paying dearly for all this gross mismanagement and rampant corruption. I think that is a point that we cannot avoid asking. And the people themselves have got to sit up and listen and ask themselves, why have we allowed it? I mean, some of the people's own representatives, like trade unions, they know their members have been paying so much in contribution to NASA. And they also know that the pension that NASA is paying their members is not even worth collecting. Why, if the trade unions themselves said nothing?
I agree with you there. We ourselves are partly to blame for this situation that we find ourselves in, particularly now that we know that the opposition members have now joined, in the looting of funds with ZANU-PF. We still continue, following them despite all the evidence that they're working in cahoots with ZANU-PF. I think now, you know, we should realize that the more we continue with this whole follow, you know, no matter what, we are only compounding our suffering. And now we are at a state where, looting has now, you know, been made official. There's no questions asked anymore. It's take and, be on your way. This is exactly what it is.
It is tragic. Here is the late British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher addressing this issue of prosperity.
Countries are not rich in proportion to their natural resources, If they were, Russia would now be the richest country in the world. Angola would be very rich, and there are many other countries that have a lot of natural resources, but they have not had an enterprise economy to develop those resources. Russia has everything: oil, gas, diamonds, platinum, gold, silver, timber, marvelous soil, but has been poor. She's also, on the second point, got very bad environment. The Aral Sea. I remember going to one communist country in about the 60s and seeing a powder coming out of a chimney of brown gas, which of course is a nitrous gas. And I was absolutely horrified. I said, well, what are you doing letting that happen? The lungs of the people must be terrible. This is acid. You can't let that go on. Tact has never been my strong point, as you know. And it is the countries that have had the wrong system, which have not created the wealth, have not cared about people. Look at the other side. Japan, no natural resources. Switzerland, no natural resources. Taiwan, no natural resources. It is the political system which enhances the enterprise of the people and gives it a framework within which to operate, which will deal with this.
Well, I can put it better myself. We have got a failed political system in Zimbabwe. The tragedy is we are doing nothing about it. That is Zimbabwe's tragedy. At the end of the day, it is the people. To say we've got a corrupt leaders, corrupt opposition leaders. Yes, that is very true. But if they're going to be replaced, it's you, the people, who have got to replace them. You have got to have the intellect to realize that this system is not working. Let's change it. Unfortunately for Zimbabwe, I think one of the problems is the people themselves have allowed themselves to be led by the nose, like bulls at a market, by the politicians. If you look at the way the politicians have lied and conned the people repeatedly, again and again, and got away with it, it's absolutely amazing. I've been, for the last year, I've been hammering on the point of Chamisa lied about plugging the vote rigging loopholes to call people to participate in the 2023 elections. And the replies I've got, the reaction I've got from the people, some of them are refusing to accept that he lied. And the few who are doing so grudgingly. The reality is, if we want a democratic country, a competently run country, we have got to make sure that we're competent leaders. If they fail, we hold them to account. But if people have so blinkered a vision to the point where they hold these leaders as if they are demigods, we have a serious problem. No wonder these leaders come back to the people and lie to them again and again, con them to do the most idiotic thing time and time again, knowing fully well they'll always get away with it. That, in my view, is our problem.
I agree with you there, to say the more we continue doing this, the easier it is for them to take advantage of us each and every time. I do really agree with you there. I think especially the people of Zimbabwe, they need a hard reset. to rethink the path that they are taking. It's just too easy to convince them into doing nonsensical things. It's just too easy, and making it very, very easy for those in public office not to be accountable to anybody, which is very, very sad. Very, very, very sad and tragic at the same time.
Yes, nations get the government they deserve. And we in Zimbabwe, we deserve this corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical canopy of dictatorship, complete with its equally corrupt, incompetent, and utterly useless MDC Triple C sidekick. That's food for thought. Thank you very much for those of you who were able to join us tonight. And I hope you'll be able to join us again tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Zimbabwean time. Good night.